YouTube. Hello, YouTubers. From the hashtag Blessed Studios. Can't ever take this serious. We're live on YouTube. This is Caleb and Brittany with the Hardscape Academy, Almond Landscape, a landscape design build company here in beautiful Southeast Ohio, beautiful Fairfield County, as everyone gives me a hard time for always saying the county. We are doing the Hardscape hotline thing for fun. Got a couple people in the room here. We'll give it a minute to anybody to sign in or show up and go from there. Special thanks to the Hardscape Academy for making this happen. The internet and capitalism. We appreciate all those things that allow the industry to grow and do better. We got a little bit of snow overnight here in Ohio, as the Native Americans used to say. And now it's raining on top of that snow that's on top of frozen ground. So we will probably have some tremendous flooding here yet this afternoon. It'd be wonderful. Brian's Lawn Maintenance. Never heard of him. I bet he's a nice fella, though. Brian, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man? Brian's Lawn Maintenance here. Huge, successful YouTube channel. Tons of great value there at his channel, LaunchpreneurAcademy.com.
That was the phone number.
And yeah, I guess we'll put the phone number in there. And if we don't have any phone calls coming in, we will start dialing out. And we'll see where that ends up.
Yeah, but why don't we talk about Florida?
Next week, some things we got going on. Next week is the Florida Green Industry Hype House, brought to you by Element. And some other sponsors here. Unilock is actually sponsoring a couple of people coming. And we got some other really cool things. The concept of that is, I'm sorry?
Toro's
sending some things. So what's going on there? It's a group of influencers, 4 main people in the house, and then we're having a bunch of guests in to stay for a few days at a time. Brian's that actor, yeah. The Paul Jameson's in here. What's up? But the Green Industry Hype House is going to be ourselves, the Fullertons, Brian's Lawn Maintenance there, Naylor Taliaferro, the lawn care rookie, and Paul Jameson with the Green Industry podcast. And we're going to be living there. Go ahead, babe.
But we have a handful of other people coming too.
Well, yeah. So we have a handful of guests coming in throughout the week to stay in. It's a great big house that we're all splitting the cost on, or actually LMN is helping with that. So appreciate LMN there. But there's going to be podcasts, YouTube videos. We're going to tour the city, and I'm going to do what I do through my Instagram channel, and we're going to shoot YouTube videos and maybe a podcast or two. We'll see. But it's just going to be a great chance to network, put together a ton of content. Some of our guests include Blake Albertson, Mitchell Gordy, the Spencers, Jason Creel with the Lawn Care Life.
Andy Mulder.
Andy Mulder's coming down. Josh Sutton's coming down. Maybe Stan Genetic. I don't think he's going to show, but we'll see. I don't know. Nobody's heard from him.
And Paul's cameraman.
He must be famous as well.
Name.
I'm a no name, of course, but in the group. But yeah, so we've got a great bunch of people coming in. Going to be a lot of content. We're going to do some fun things going around. I'm going to be crashing some job sites. They don't know what's coming yet. Nobody knows. So we're going to prowl the streets and find people working and talk to them, interview them. And I'm going to just tour around and look at hardscape stuff and go to some hardscape suppliers and rental yards. And I got a ton of stuff planned. I'm going to be up with Paul at 5. I'm going hard next week. It ain't no vacation. We are going to have a lot of fun next week and bring a ton of value and content. So that's the Green Industry Hype House coming up.
But at the end of the week, we also have a meetup at
Holy cow, that's right. Paul Jameson, Toro has sponsored 3. They're giving away 3 21-inch battery-powered push mowers made by Toro. I'm not sure how we're doing that. And we've got our first call here at the Academy.
Okay.
Hey, thanks for calling the Hardscape Hotline. How can we help you?
Hey, this is Brian's Lawn Maintenance.
Brian Fullerton. Oh my gosh, I'm such a fan. What's up, man? How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I was in the car driving home from Panera getting lunch, and I saw your guys' notification because I'm subscribed to the channel.
Like it,
and I just wanted to say, hope you guys are having a good day, and hope you guys have a lot of fun on the live stream.
Well, thank you, dude. Appreciate it. It's a lot of fun, and last time was for our little channel a success, I believe, and we had a good time. Hey, did it snow up your way? Did you push any snow last night or this morning, or?
No, we actually only got like about an inch, and so Bedell's doing the salt runs for us on all of our commercial sites, and we might get some lake effect tonight, so we might do a little tidy up in the morning for our residential clients, but so it's kind of like a big call to action, and then you just kind of fizzle out, you know? So it's kind of one of those nights where you're like, you don't really get any sleep because you're like looking out the window every hour, but it's just one of those deals. But I was talking to my subcontractors this morning who does all of our salting, and doing a bang up job, and that's where teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah,
so.
man. Mike Bedell out there getting things done. He's got a good operation. He's also at the Debt-Free Landscaper, I think .com or something like that. So check him out there.
Yeah.
Dude, how pumped are you for the Hype House next week?
Super excited. I'm actually hoping you guys can teach me how to live stream. So
yeah, it's really,
we'll do one while we're down there.
It's really difficult. Yeah, I mean, heck, we'll do one, and it'll be a lot of fun, and we'll be doing some cool stuff. What do you got coming up this week, Brian, since we got you on the horn here?
This week, trying to just get our ducks in a row. We actually got to send all of our preseason lawn agreements out for the company. And so we don't do residential contracts, but one thing that I like to do is send out like a lawn agreement form. And I call it like an inquiry form. So we just get an inquiry of what everybody wants for the season. It's like a little checkbox checklist. And then we snail mail that out. And then in a perfect world, 99.9% of people snail mail them back to us.
Yeah.
And we get a pulse on the season, but usually we get 60-70% of those back, but those right there go out the first week of February, and then we kind of lock all that in the first part of March, and we can book our whole calendar out for the year with all the work that we got, and kind of it's more of a guarantee of the work that we're going to do versus me always going into the season making stuff up saying, hey, I think we're going to do 100 aerations versus we only have 30 or 40. So,
absolutely, man.
But do you snail mail all of your sorry
Yep.
Do you snail mail all of your invoices and stuff, or is that just this contract?
No, that's the only thing we mail to our customers besides like Christmas cards or holiday cards. Yep.
Brian, how do you do invoicing? Do you do credit card on file or anything like that?
All of our commercial is usually like net 14, net 21.
Right.
Some of them are net 30, but all of the residentials are credit card on file. Yep. So
that is so great.
We charge card. Yeah, we charge card or what I call cash out at the end of the month. So
nice.
That's for mowing.
Right.
Any landscaping, they write a check, and usually we give them 7 days on that. And then any a la carte services, it's due at the time of service. So when we do an aeration, before we leave the property, it's already charged on file. So that credit card on file.
I think that is so great for lawn care guys that are listening, or even people doing landscape installs. I think it's definitely possible to get a card on file. How did and this, I've been recommending this to so many guys I've been doing in coaching calls and consulting calls, is to do card on file. Brian, how did you handle any objections, or how do you handle pushback on getting a card on file and alleviate any fears of like security issues or billing issues or anything like that?
Yeah. Well, really simply, like if you have any reputable CRM, like a LMN, a yard book, or whatever,
right?
Usually you can have a credit card file link get sent from your office to their email, and typically, at least it is with the CRM I use. We don't see any of that info, so I always tell the customer, hey, rest assured, even if they're brand new, hey, we don't see that info, we don't touch that info, we don't put a debit card holder or anything like that. It's just a placeholder, kind of like if you're booking a hotel.
Yeah.
And I say, hey, we don't see any of that info. And then I always try to like lighten them up a little bit and say, hey, you're not going to see a $500 charge at Nordstrom for my wife. Don't worry.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that little bit there, like actually does humanize you as a contractor, but also a real person,
Yeah.
But that's what we do to kind of just set people at ease. And that's for us, it's a non-negotiable. If you want to do a seasonal prepay, we give you a 5% discount. But we only take customers with charge card on file. We don't do service, even if it's hey, can you just knock it down really quick? I got a graduation party on Friday. Nope, not until you put a credit card on file, then we'll do service. So
I love that, man. I think that is so wonderful. And any lawn care guys out there not doing this, I'd really encourage you to do this. Reach out to Brian. He's got everything in the world to help you through that stuff through his coaching or forms or whatever the heck. I just think it's wonderful.
I mean, that would have saved. We took someone to small claims court over there. Mowing bill.
It would. And I think it's all about being confident when you say it's a deal breaker. If you don't do it, you got to be confident. I'm sure you might have like Grandma Crabtree or old Grandma Betty that just physically can't do that or something. I guess maybe, I don't know. You might make an exception, but otherwise, no way.
Well, for us, what I found, and by the way, I had all those same like apprehensions and fear and kind of anxiety. And,
sure.
Am I going to lose a customer or a third of my customers? I had folks saying that you might lose half of your business going that route. And I did a really hard adoption about 3.5 years ago. And because I just honestly was, like you guys had alluded to, being tired of a professional debt collector.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I mean, we would get half of our revenue in, and then the next month would start, and I'm still chasing money back from 6 weeks ago. And you know, you want to hire employees or expand into the business, and you know, have cash flow to finance new equipment or pay cash for things. It's impossible to run a business that way.
Yeah.
And so if my business's finances were like that, imagine my personal finances. And you know, everything just kept, you know, we were playing defensive and 1 foot off the back of the cliff, you know, pushed into a corner of the, you know, so it was ugly, but you know, at the same point, I didn't have the heart to, you know, strong arm, you know, my 92-year-old customer,
Sure.
you know, that I have.
Right. Sure.
But he's the only guy I have this 92-year-old customer that I didn't push online, because he gives me a check like in person the day of the last day of service. But
yeah.
Here's what I found. For me personally, what worked is that every single person, and we had 135 clients that we moved to card on file in like a 4-week window.
Yeah.
Whether they're 18 or 65, whether they lived in a trailer or they lived in $1 million home, everybody had a credit card or a debit card, and everybody had an email, and we gave 0 exceptions. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to do that. You might want to, you know, move one route over per year, or, you know, adopt new customers moving forward only with that kind of a system. But for me, I honestly was willing to lose half of my business because I was only getting half of the money anyway. So to me, it was it would have saved me money by not having to chase these people down.
Sure. Yeah.
So and I'm kind of being a little facetious there, but it's kind of true too, you know.
Sure.
So anyway, that was my story. We had 99% adoption, and then one person did push back hardcore. They said, "Well, I don't even have a bank account." And I said, "You live in a $400,000 subdivision. Like, there's no way you don't have a bank account for your mortgage." Okay.
Yeah. What in the world?
So I gave her an option. I said 5% prepay if you want to write a check at the beginning of the season. She said, "Well, I don't know how I can trust you, because what if you guys run?" Sure. I said, We've been doing your lawn for 4 years and in the subdivision for 15. I don't think I'm the variable here.
Right.
But she canceled it, and ironically enough, 3 weeks later when the season started up, my friend Mike Bedell was fertilizing the lawn across the street from her, which is one of my accounts. And she waved him down and said, "Hey, can you come mow my grass? Like, my last guy quit." And he goes, "Well, I don't mow in here. I'm just fertilizing some accounts, but I have a great guy I can refer you to. Do you know Brian's Lawn Maintenance?" And she goes, "Great." So you know, it's the small world out there, you know. But and she's a nice lady, but you know, we haven't cut her lawn for 2 years now, and that's not my problem. So
yep, nope, you can't worry about it, and she may come around eventually too. You know, I think with the card on file thing is so cool. I mean, I know a couple guys, they're doing. I mean, and your company's your own book. You write it how you want to. So the big thing is, there's a couple guys that I don't know which one I'm doing. John Pajak, Naylor Taliaferro, Brian Ring, and Joe DePace are 4 guys, and I think even John Hubchek. All those guys have card on file, and some of them bill weekly on card on file. Imagine what that does for your cash flow. A couple of those guys, and I think it's Brian Ring and even Pajak, they do pre-billing. So they bill at the first of the month for the services yet to be rendered. And that is baller status. That is the coolest thing. That is such a power move. Like, I think that is awesome. Well, so if you can do that, great. But do what's comfortable for you, of course, folks.
Well, my only issue with doing it prepay at the beginning of the month is for some of us, like, when it does get hot and you only mow 2 times out of the 4, like, then it kind of messes up your books, because then you got to credit that account.
Yeah, and they deal with it. They do deal with that. Yeah.
So that's my only concern on that. But it's not a bad thought. But to go full circle to your thought was like, hey, it's 2021. Like,
right.
I always ask the guys, I push it back on them. I'm like, what bill do you pay 4 to 6 to 8 weeks out later that nowadays that you sign up for? I mean, like my Verizon bill, we have a card on file. My electric bill, we have a card on file. My mortgage for my property gets auto drafted out of my account. I don't even follow up with it, So it's like, if you're not having a card on file, you're having best business practices from 1991. And if you want to live in a 1991 business model, that's fine. But again, like, if there's not a service that comes to my house or that Liz and I are signed up for that's not paid same day or auto charged or auto drafted.
That's
or
a good point.
Call it. So
yeah, I mean, that's a great point. That's a great point to any objections you have out there. That's a good point. That's killer.
Yeah. So, but hey, I don't want to hog the phone, man. You guys got a lot of great people that are calling in and private.
Yeah, we got some questions to answer here, Brian. Thanks for calling in, buddy. I sure appreciate it.
We'll see you Sunday.
I'll catch up with you guys.
See you in Tampa.
Okay,
bye now.
Yep. Bye.
So that was Brian Fullerton. Brian's lawn maintenance. Really smart dude. Obviously runs a really tight lawn care business there, even though he fakes it, I guess according to some of his detractors there. But he's really sharp when it comes to running a good solo operator business. It's really, really cool. But he's working on delegating to his guys too. So I'm really psyched for him there. We got a first-time caller, a long-time listener. That's always fun. It's our second episode. Here's a question. Are you backfill behind a retaining wall with the Brittany, why don't you ask the questions? Get you involved here. And you can answer. You know the answers to these questions.
Hardscape's in here. Hi.
Mike.
After you backfill behind a retaining wall with the clear stone, do you put geofabric between the topsoil and clear backfill to prevent migration of the topsoil into the clear stone?
So it's a really common question. It's answered in how to install retaining walls training video available at the hardscapeacademy.com. Jesus, shameless. So there's a lot of discussion about that. And we talked to the guys at Techo Block began to turn my ear on this, and I'm a big believer in having filtration or geofabrics on the horizontal top portion. If you see me wince when I move my arm a certain way, it's because I had shoulder surgery 3 weeks ago, and I'm just letting my arm get out of my sling here. So bear with me if I throw my arms too much. But I'm all about having geofabric on the top of your layer of clean stone for drainage when there's soil on top of it, because you're definitely going to get vertical migration down and permeation of water down in. So I definitely could see an integration of fines and soils contaminating your clean drain stone. You want to have a really good non-woven geotextile fabric that does allow a lot of permissivity. Is that the right word? But a lot of permeability down through there. Now, when you're going to wrap the back side of the wall, we're not so strict ourselves on that. I don't believe if you've got that much water coming in and through the sides of your hills, you've got other water issues you need to address, and probably shouldn't be building a retaining wall there until addressing those issues. So one of the arguments is if you've got that much water running through there, really the main argument is the tiny pores, what's called the AOS, apparent opening size on that geofabric, which is really little, and you want to try to buy needle punch geofabric if you can, when you can. But it's more likely, I believe, and even according to the Techo Block Paver Pete folks, that those tiny pores, those tiny AOS sizes are going to clog before that drain field will clog. And I subscribe to that. I believe that, with the exception of your top horizontal layer. You are going to get vertical migration down, but anything around the backside like that, I don't worry about, because that fabric is going to clog prior to your drain field clogging, or even integrating enough that you would have sinkhole issues.
And we're in a lot of clay,
like
so
we're in heavy clay in the area. Now, if we're in a lot of sand, or you're backfilling with sand up against that up against those clean stone for drain stone, yeah, you might see more integration and more movement of that sand into your drain field. So I would definitely consider then wrapping your drain field completely. Now, when we do French drains, we do burrito wrap, which I learned the term there from Jeremy Swihart about burrito wrapping your entire French drain field in that. But I still believe in most cases that geofabric is going to clog before that big drain, the stone is going to clog itself. So I have a kind of touch and go opinion on geofabrics for separation. Now, when we're doing basing for retaining walls, basing for patios, parking lots, you name it, we are doing a geotextile beat on the bottom again to strengthen and bridge weak spots in soil. And we use a woven geotextile there, or a geogrid even in some applications. So good question. We hear that that's a common question. We get it a lot. That's why one of the reasons we don't use sock wrapped pipe. I don't believe those slits are going to clog way long after the fabric, the tiny little holes on that geotextile fabric would clog, let's say. So the little holes are going to clog before the big slits would. So that's my main objection. So then you lose functionality of the pipe itself. Brittany,
Okay.
baby.
Also, when you put plants back there, would you line the holes with the fabric as well for the same reason? Thanks for the info.
Line the holes.
So when you dig out, would you? The answer is no.
Okay. I don't understand the question. So
I'm assuming when you dig a hole, if you would put fabric in the hole before you plant your plant.
Mate, as long as you're not getting it into the gravel. I mean, you want to separate it from the gravel, I guess, on the top side, if that makes sense. Spill the beans on the property yet? No, the property is still in limbo. So we made an offer on a piece of property to build a facility on. and it's going to be really cool. It's going to be our shop and our training facility headquarters. We're going to host in-person training, stuff like that. We haven't really announced that yet, so here it is, I guess, live on YouTube. We're gonna open a live training facility, and it's going to be awesome. And we're hoping we're going to break ground on that thing as fast and soon as
someone
we
else has put an offer
possibly can. So we're
but they're
competing
going to
against
keep
that,
it between our bid and someone else's bid. And
as of now, subject to change, of course. But
we hope to know they hope to have everything finished by March.
Yep, and we're ready to roll. We've got we're ready to roll on it. We're ready to roll on it. So let's see here. What else, babe?
We have 150 snow removal customers, and I'll pay first of the month before work is started.
Man, that's cool. That's great, and that's one of the great snow contracts. So, we don't do snow plowing. I dabbled in it in the past, and my opinion is if we're not going to do 6 figures worth of snow plowing here, it's not worth messing with. It's just there's too many moving parts, too little sleep, let's say, and a lot of liability. I mean, somebody backs over something the first night, there goes your profit for the night, probably, because your insurance deductible is going to get eaten up in that. The
okay.
As far as prepay, so that's one of the cool things about snow contracts. I know people specifically structure their snow contracts. They want 1/3 of them in prepay, 1/3 of them in like seasonal, so they pay no matter if it snows or not, and then 1/3 of them in per push or per event. And that breaks up their cash flow and kind of I'd go all prepay no matter what. But what they say is, if you get a killer year, your prepays you get paid no matter what. Now you could put clauses in your contract of like 0 to 6 and 0 to whatever, 0 to 12 per event to keep you from getting murdered if you get 18 inches in one event. But that's kind of the risk of some of those prepay contracts. That's a long conversation could be had there.
Congrats, guys! If you get a chance, touch on weather conditions through the winter and if it affects what type of jobs you schedule and how you stay on schedule.
Oh God. Yeah.
I know we finally gave up on trying.
It's and I tell you, there's our main thing is we're trying to keep our 2 project managers in a paycheck year round. So we're taking on stuff through the winter here. It's been really mild. We've been fortunate, got some stormwater work going. We're building a fence next week, doing a shed demolition, doing some drainage work. We're just doing the darnest, and we just kind of accept that profitability is not going to be super high through the winter. But we're still bringing in money because profit is different. There's gross profit, net profit, and then breaking even, right? And so like through the winter, like if we're breaking even on our costs and we keep our guys, a couple of our guys are PMs employed, which is part of their job perk, that they've got a paycheck all through the winter. We're not super worried, about. This sounds wrong, and I'm sure I'll get crucified for this, but like we're happy to have the work, and if it's drug out and going slow, but it's keeping our guys employed and paying overhead and stuff for the month, we're happy, because otherwise it's better than zero income. It's better than zero overhead being recovered. So our goal is to definitely cover overhead and all that stuff, but not go upside down in jobs. But that's kind of the way we're looking at it. But we're doing what we can, and what I've realized too is there's always so much customer service stuff that needs done. Is like I'll send those 2 guys out and they'll go do customer service issues, and we'll kind of jump ahead of some things of like, hey, so and so called, we've got a loose paver somewhere or whatever. Let's go take care of all that stuff. And we've been fortunate this winter to not have to lay those 2 guys off and go from there. So we're just happy to keep work turning and work that pays overhead and covers bills, and better than zero work. You know what I mean? So let's see here.
Okay. Paul hopes that our shop has room for our plane.
Yeah, I hope so too. Fortunately, the airport's really nearby, so there's getting to be a joke with all the traveling we're doing. I want a plane or helicopter so bad I can't stand it. Oh God, Brian, here we go.
Will you be hiring a thumbnail editor for YouTube, or should we expect more banger thumbnails from
Hey,
Caleb?
Gas in Thy Eye is a good one, I think. And I don't know, Brian, we're not big time like you on YouTube, but I think the YouTube channel is going to be a fun train wreck, man. So I think you can expect more banger phone.
Because that's worth our time.
Yeah, really. Right. So we're trying to do that. There was one thing.
We started a firewood operation to keep everyone busy. Just too many run here. Makes things take a lot longer.
And so that's one thing, like think outside the box, right? So these dudes are running firewood. Great. I love that. It's a great concept. I knew a company that started doing, this was back during the building boom in the 06, 01, 06, 08 in there. And they started doing garage finishing. So, in new developments, like the garage is generally the last thing that you finish, or people don't because the budget or whatever. In like your more production home, I'm trying to think what the right word is, but and this guy started a business in the wintertime of just
something random like garage steps.
We kicked that around doing that. Yeah.
Okay, we were going to do that.
But this guy, he got a couple of his main guys, and they started drywalling in garages in the wintertime. And then that turned into a business all its own. And then they got a couple crews just doing garage finishing. That's all they do. Put drywall up, mud it, and either paint it or not. And that turned into a whole nother business for them. And that's what they're just doing in the wintertime. It was indoors, warm, and like still not inside the house. You don't have to worry about so much about interior, finishing work and dealing with being in somebody's house working, which is the worst thing. And that's because I know working on the outside is bad enough. I couldn't imagine interior work. Oh my gosh. So I thought that was really cool. So, think a little bit and come up with something you find a need in the market for. And that was one of the most unique ones. Britt and I even found that a lot of people needed steps in their garage out to their thing. And we built one set of steps one time we dropped off a set of precast concrete steps to somebody one time. And we thought, man, this could be interesting because a lot of people just have crappy like wooden steps. Like you could build new ones, do railing, all that kind of stuff, whatever. But we're not doing that now. That was years ago, and we were just trying to figure out what we were going to do.
That was the hustle.
That was the hustle. We were trying to figure out what the hell we were going to do to buy an airplane.
Man, we don't have one still.
We don't have one still.
So,
we're not going to have an airplane for a while. I'll ride Brian's around sometime.
What is one thing you have put in your contracts that you've learned from someone else or learned from experience?
Oh.
Every single possible detail that comes across your mind should go in that contract. And if you learn something from another project, you should immediately add that to your existing contract.
Exactly. And I'll tell you, just what came to mind is one that I learned this from somebody out west that builds big retaining walls. And in their contracts with retaining walls, they have stated, and they have it labeled, that they are only responsible for what has been built and what happens within, I think it's like 12 or 18 inches behind the retaining wall. And they're not responsible for if somebody, and it's in their contract. So if somebody ends up putting a parking lot above a retaining wall they built that wasn't designed to hold a parking lot, they're not responsible for if it fails because it wasn't designed to hold up cars. Or if somebody changes the drainage plan up top and all the water from a whole hillside comes to that retaining wall and it's not designed to handle all that water. I thought it was one of the most brilliant clauses in a contract that you could ever see. And then also what's it called? An underground or an unforeseen excavation clause. It escapes me what we call it on our contract, but essentially it's in the contract of like, look, if we don't know what's in the ground. So if we find a buried Buick in there, we're gonna have to come to you with a change order and handle it. And we will before we move, before we proceed and rack up a giant bill, but we're gonna reach out to you and say, hey, and it's in the contract. We're not required to eat the cost on if we find a boulder the size of a Humvee. We're not going to eat the cost of jackhammering that thing out of there to get the proper basing in or footers or whatever. So that's a great clause in the contract. There's a lot of conversations.
I think something else that we've done is in all the descriptions when I write something out for a patio, I put approximately 14 feet or approximately 400 square feet. That way, like when the guys are laying it out, we might be 4 inches short just because of banding instead of like cutting all the banding to meet that 14 feet. Yeah. And in your contracts on the hardscape end, especially approximately 385 square feet or whatever, like you want to be as closely and you want to be as precisely vague as possible just to protect yourself a little bit. One of the commercial contracts we work with, everything on their contract is 7 foot plus or minus. Everything is plus or minus. 2 yards of concrete, plus or minus. Now it's up to you to defend yourself in a court of law what plus or minus is defined as. And I bet you could still find some legal definitions in there of what it's typically, within 10% each way, whatever kind of deal. We always put the coloring in our color. Yeah. People get bent out of shape about color. But like plantings, it's like, we will install 15 box. Boy, planting contracts are a good one. Like you're not responsible for, what just stating what your warranty is. Yeah. I mean, stating what your warranty is a big deal and having that in writing. To what level of customer service you go from there is up to you. And generally we'll just, if stuff dies, we just replace it. It's not worth arguing. It's the referral of taking a super good care of your client's stuff is worth more than like the 7 shrubs you might have to replace. Now, if they're being abused or not taken care of, that's a conversation you got to have, which is why we generally, if we don't do planting work from June on, unless June to August, it has a drip irrigation system being installed with it, which is a great upsell, by the way. Great upsell there. What else, baby doll? Okay. So in some of our landscape jobs, we require 35% at signing, 45% Saturday, and 20% at completion. Yeah, I mean, breaking job. We've got a YouTube video here on the channel talking about our draw system, I think, don't we? Talking about our draw system and breaking
breaking projects down. Now, in some states, it's legally required to be different. So you check the legality in your state, especially California has some screwy draw laws. But it's really great to break jobs down. And generally, we'll break jobs down into like 5 draws. Like if it's a $10,000 job, we'll break it down into like a $2,000 scheduling deposit, a $2,000 first day the materials are on site, $2,000 first day we're there. So we might get a $6,000 payment up front, but the client, for the most part, has something to show for it. And it's the most fair way to go about it, I believe. You can craft these things any way you want. And if the client's unhappy with any of it, you can recraft it to it, but craft it in your favor that is fair so that you're paid. Really, it's the best system for both parties. The client's paid. The client has paid for what they've received and what's been done, and you've been paid for what you've given and what you've done.
So every single contract is different for our draw system. I break it up just depending on what the project is. I know for the final draw, I usually try to leave it to where like it's just lighting that's left, or it's just the mulching and the landscaping that's left, depending on how much landscaping there is. But we really try for the final draw to be around $2,000.
Yeah, 10 really, and Eric Triplett was beating this into my head for a while. Like, you don't want that client to owe you more than 10% of that project. So if it's a $30,000 project, you don't want them to owe you more than $3,000 at the very end of the project, because that's where like the 50-50 system can just slaughter you of like, okay, up front, you've got all their money. And if you get hit by a truck, that's one thing a client told me one time. If you get hit by a truck, they've got to come to you, your grieving family, to get their $15,000 back. Or let's say your homeowner's hit by a truck, or they have a death in the family, or just what you name the circumstance, pandemic, whatever. And now you've got to go to their grieving family to get your money back, or to get your money. And it's an awkward turtle. Nobody wants to be in part of that, that's something our babysitter does. Awkward turtle.
Because she works in between us when she works in the office.
Yeah,
and so forever arguing.
So Natalie's sitting there going like this because it's awkward turtle time, because Britt and I are yelling at each other in the office. But so you want to really structure payments to be safe for both parties and fair.
Oh, another point to that is for the draw system, I put pavers are laid but not cut in, because cutting in is something the guys usually do like last or towards the end, and it's not always all done at the same time. Or if it's a really big patio, I'll say the fire pit area and the main paver field, I'll separate those just to get more draw payments out of that. So
yep, that's a good way. That's a good point, Britt. And if you like this content, if you like this stuff we're talking about here, our webinar series we've been doing is going deep for like 2 and 3 hours on these kind of topics. So if you go to the HARDSCAPEacademy.com, we talk a lot about all these topics we've talked about. If
you purchase the package deal, you can get access to all of them.
So you got to at this point to watch any of the past ones, you've got to purchase the 9-pack deal. I think it's $343. It's killer value. I mean, it's literally it's going to be 15 or 20 hours of content for $300. It's cheaper than college and cheaper than failing. So I highly recommend it. And I normally don't push product too hard, but like that is a good value. It really is good.
Okay, we have a landscape company, Down to Earth Landscaping,
DTE, what's up?
Denver, Colorado. My partner and I.
No kidding, out in Denver. That's where you are.
My partner and I have been sharing the same role for the 8 years we've been in business, sharing tasks and responsibilities.
Cool.
We had a great year and grew, but worked way too much, and the workload has become very lopsided. Any tips on how to divide up roles and conquer, hoping to work less and make more money?
It's probably not so much dividing up roles more. You probably need to delegate out more is probably what you probably need to add another person or a CPA or some. It sounds to me like that's probably the case. It doesn't sound like you need to divide it up anymore.
There's more.
If you're already working.
We are both our best in-field employees and spend full-time hours in the field while handling everything else.
Oof.
That PM work and selling has unfortunately gotten very lopsided.
Yeah. Typical struggle, and everybody deals with it. And your company is going to grow, but to the level of which you can develop the personal skills to delegate effectively. It's as simple as that. Your company is going to grow to the level of your personal skills that you can delegate. So your people skills, your emotional intelligence, your management talent, let's say, is going to follow.
But I mean, a lot of that you need to sit down and think about like what you guys are good at. So is your partner better at selling than you are? Then your partner should be out on the sales calls and you should take one of their tasks. If you really want to break it up between you guys, you just need to find out like what you guys are all best at. And, if no one's good at accounting, or you guys know you're always sending out invoicing late, then you need to find someone part-time. You can find, trust me, I put not even an ad. I just put a listing out on Indeed for a bookkeeper, and I got over 120 applicants.
Blew our email up.
And like,
it was terrible.
A day, I had to shut it down. There were people all over. I probably had people from Denver, Colorado apply. There were people from all over the world, London and everything. and they just all wanted to work remotely. So you might be able to find someone that you can pay, 15 hours a week to do all that stuff, so you can be in the field if that's what you want to do. If you don't want to be in the field, then you need to be finding that key person.
Yeah. And I'd still recommend finding that key person if you don't have
You
that
should always
key
be
person,
training
so
for
you
that
can
key
step
person.
away. I mean, just so you can step away as need, or
But the other
build that
reason
second crew or
is
third crew
if
or
you
5 crew.
don't have those key people to take over, God forbid something would happen to you, who's in the field then? Who's going to produce the work while you
keeping
recover?
bills? Who's keeping overhead paid? That's the thing. You got to keep productive, and so that's a big thing with us, and that's a big deal to us. We want to keep the company moving should one of us get sick or have family members to deal with, and same for our guys. Like if they have family members get sick or something, we want people to be able to step in. Like if I need to step in and cover for one of the PMs because they're having family issue or something like that, we want to be able to do that because we're a team here at Almond.
We are.
And
we cover each other. Whatever goes
Everybody's
on.
got their strengths and weaknesses, and it. I used to think the corporate gear poster
Company
of like
culture.
We're a team and we're a machine here, and I used to think it was real cheesy, but it's true. Like if we screw up our job, the guys suffer for it. And if the guys screw up their job, we suffer for it, and then everybody suffers. So that's.
But I think that's why company culture is also important.
It's
because
huge.
like
Absolutely,
our guys, they'll tell us if there's a family thing and they're not scared to ask for the time off because they know like we'll cover it, we'll figure it out. And just like if I had a family emergency, I would want them to give me slack. Like, okay, well, this project might not be as organized as it should be, but they have a lot going on right now. So we know how to just get it done. So fortunately, we've had our Hardscape foreman with us, as many of you know, for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So he's pretty much just Caleb's replacement. And our other project manager for the stormwater, he is just a go-getter. And
he's worked for us in the past and has come back to work for us after going out west
Right.
to work for a while. So that's been a good deal. What else we got, babe?
Love your call and show. You two are truly taking the hard out of hardscaping. Well, that's nice.
Why, thanks, Brian Race.
Would you recommend one of us taking on field ops and one focuses on general management?
If somebody wants to do that, yeah. If you don't want to do it, you're going to hate your job. Then you're going to hate your company.
I was going to say I wouldn't flip a coin for that because
you take the sucky job. No, you don't want that.
You're going to hate.
Both.
There's no point in being an entrepreneur if you hate the task that you're giving yourself. So if you're just flipping a coin, and obviously you both like being in the field, probably.
Right. Now at the same time, like as the owners, you still do a lot of times got to do the jobs that nobody else wants to do. I mean, to an extent, but I mean, like accounting and stuff like that, you got to hire out the things you're bad at.
We'll come back to that.
Thanks for calling the Hardscape Academy Hardscape Hotline. We got a ton of feedback in our ears. How can we help you?
Hi, my name is Dave, and I'm the owner of DC Outdoor Services out of Northeast Iowa.
All right, Northeast Iowa. What's it doing in Northeast Iowa right now? Did y'all get all that snow and sleet and junk out there here recent?
Yeah, the past few days, blowing too. So,
what's the temperature in Northeast Iowa? It's getting cold out there a bit.
Actually, it's been pretty warm lately. It's been just under freezing.
Oh well, heck, that's tolerable.
Not too bad. Yeah, I think this upcoming week is going to drop down a little bit, but.
Awesome, man. What's up? What can we help you with, if anything?
Well, I'm 17 years old. I just finished my first year in business.
Congrats.
I'm more in the hardscape and skid steer work. Thank you. I did just under 30,000 in sales this last year.
Okay.
And this coming season, I'm looking to be doing around 75 to 80. That's what I'm projecting.
Okay, cool.
And I just want to know if you guys have any advice on moving forward and to keep expanding my business.
It's always, figuring out what you want to do, right? Like what you want to specialize in, dabble in some things, learn what you want to do, taste a lot of, different styles of projects, but pursue what you're really interested in. And that's going to be, I think, if you never want to pour concrete, then don't deal with concrete. But if you like, I don't know, maybe I would like concrete, start messing with concrete, but definitely have some professionals that can definitely hold your hand through it. Cause concrete, you get into trouble in concrete in a hurry. But I think that's a big thing. Keep doing quality work, always be knowing your numbers, making sure you're making money, setting your company up to, to be profitable. Try to surround yourself with good people. Don't be afraid to say no to jobs. If it's not something you feel is like the right project for you or the right client, don't be afraid to walk away from work. That's one thing I think a lot of young guys will, and I know I did. I took everything come in. I still am bad about that to an extent. So, as far as like bringing in more work, a good search engine optimized website's always good for marketing, just the networking, always talking to people, good branding. I mean, there's a million things. Britt, your input, honey.
Zoned out for a second. What's the question?
Good for you, baby. When I start seeing you zone out, like I'm gonna put you on the spot like that. But I mean, in general, it's just how to grow. He did 30K. How do we do 75 next year?
Don't be afraid to fail.
What does that mean? People say that, but that failing sucks, and
Failing
nobody
does
wants
suck,
to.
but think about all the lessons. Think about how many times you've failed and everything that you've learned. And so, like, not big. Like, don't take on 100-foot tall retaining wall, and don't be afraid to fail on that. That is a very scary thing. But just like but everyday little things, like I don't know if I should dump $200 in a Facebook ad or something. Just like this Hardscaper hotline. We had no idea if anyone would log into it, and what's the worst that could happen?
Right.
Well, I think a lot of us appreciate you guys doing it.
Well, that's cool. I don't know why it's a freaking train wreck, but it's fun. And I'll tell you. So, how do you have a game plan of how you think? What's your template right now? How you think you're going to get to double your sales next year? Which isn't hard, by the way. Doubling your sales, because one of the ways to break that down is like how much you need to do per for the year. Okay, how much does that translate per month, and then per week, and then per day? Like what kind of jobs do you need to do that are you're going to help you hit that goal? What's your most profitable type of work you're taking on at the moment? It's really, you break it down, right? You break it down into a few different chunks, and it's like, okay, by month I need to do this. I'm setting a goal. I'm going to sell this much work, and I'm going to produce this much work, and you track it. And we've got a little thermometer tracking thing on the wall in the office. It's not up for the year yet, but of our sales to date, you know what I mean? And there's other, obviously QuickBooks has like reports you can print out of obviously telling you where you're at and stuff like that.
I'm just a really visual person. So
I think everybody is at the end of the day. They want to see it helps. It totally helps when I see the scoreboard on the wall of like, all right, we're only at 120 for the year and we're, we're a month in or whatever. Like, okay, to hit 1 million, I know we've got to keep pumping this.
I think whatever your goals are, be it, your $70,000 a year or lifetime goals or whatever you want to do. I think the more you make it to where you see it every single day, like we have our lifetime goals or visions or whatever, they're on our fridge.
I used to think that was cheesy and didn't work. And now every morning, evening, I see it all the time. It's like, yeah, hell yeah.
Like if you want to buy a new trailer this year, then print out a picture of that trailer and stick it up, on your refrigerator, on your bathroom mirror. And that's what you're working for every day. And it's your goal to save that much money. And I think you just have to take it like piece by piece and not just think of like, oh, I have to go to 70,000. Yeah. There's so much in between. There's so many small goals in between there.
And one thing to interrupt, you're 17, right? So like, dude,
I'm still in
high school. So I have the summer mainly, but then I'm able to squeeze some smaller jobs in between in the spring and fall.
So dude, you've got a ton of time. Like, you've got so much time, man. Like, so just, be patient, take on the right kind of work that you want to do and for the right kind of customers and just
learn
chill
from all of it because, you're only 17 and you probably still live with your parents. So what an opportunity you have to save the money that you're making, but B, like really
reinvest it,
but really weed out what you do and what you don't want to do. By the time you're 21, you'll have a solid company. The first 3 to 5 years are the hardest.
I'm just trying to reinvest as much as I can.
Sure.
So far, going into this upcoming season, I already have $40,000 of work lined up.
Nice.
Very cool.
That should only put me through about the end of June. So I see a lot of opportunity, and I live in a small town, so I'm still shocked that there's like work out there. Even I live in a town with like 2,000 people. Like
yeah. And so here's the thing with the modern economy, the current economy is we're still fortunate enough that if you're willing to physically work, you will have no trouble being successful as long as you're not an idiot with your money like I used to be. But I mean, there is such a need for physical work to get done that you won't have. There's no short. I mean, I could start a power washing company tomorrow. I could start a concrete company tomorrow, and I know what I could take that company to first year. Like, there's such a demand and need for work out there, and people that are ethical and do a good job. And and all that kind of stuff. So, dude, if you're willing to work, man, you are golden. You're in good shape. And so just be smart and be smart with your money and your sales goals. And again, you're young, man. Gosh, you keep this up, by the time you're 25, you'll have a hell of a company on your hands. And all your friends that went and got $100,000 in debt in school are going to wonder what the hell, and I'm not against school, by the way, either, but you got a good thing coming for you, man. So keep it up.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, buddy. Have a great afternoon out there in Northeast Iowa.
You too. Have a good one.
Bye now. So,
bye.
To draw on that a little bit, like there's so, if you're willing to work, especially physical work, like hard work, dirty work, all that kind of stuff. Everybody wants to be in front of a computer. Nobody wants to really, not a lot of people, let's say, want to really physically work anymore or physically do things. So, and there's still a lot of people that do. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you look outside every day. There's people on job sites. There's people getting the work done. But still, with the college push still going on and the tech push still going on, it's less and less glamorous to be on a job site. And so if you figure out a way to be productive and profitable on a job site and do a good job, you have good things ahead for you. And just be smart and adapt with the times, and you'll be in good shape. Man, we're burning through times 45 minutes already. And Britt and I swore, we're only going to go an hour.
It's only going for an hour. Okay. Do you have any advice to someone in their first year of starting a business and becoming a licensed contractor?
Yeah, I mean, my gosh, so much. Go ahead, Britt.
I mean, a lot of it is what we just talked about with the last person.
Get insurance, but yeah, I mean, like get insurance, is like all the basic stuff, right? Get your insurance as soon as you can. Learn what it takes to run. The most important thing is learn what it takes to run a proper business. Like
I would probably schedule a meeting with an accountant or a CPA and tell them that you're starting a business, or this is your second year in business or whatever, and just figure out how to make everything legal. I know when we were doing it,
specializes in working with small business entrepreneurs,
right? But when we were doing it, I didn't know. Like, I knew nothing. I didn't know, like, how do you pay sales tax? Where do you go to file your quarterly taxes?
I didn't either, so I just didn't pay it.
Right. We know that.
Yeah. First 10 years, real game. Real game changer.
How do you figure out workers' comp? How do you register with your workers' comp? So there were a lot of things that we just didn't know how to do, and our accountant helped us through a lot of it. I would become an LLC. I would definitely get insurance, and I would open up multiple bank accounts.
Yeah, that's a big deal too. And pay yourself a little bit too. Don't be afraid. And that's the next question from our buddy at HH Progressive Construction there. But don't hesitate to pay yourself, little, even if it's a tiny amount. Get in the habit of paying yourself. Read the book called Profit First. But get in the habit of paying yourself, even if it's $200 a week or $10,000. I don't care what it is. Get in the habit of paying yourself, because the company is always going to be trying to suck your money away for tools and for this and that. Get in the habit of paying yourself a salary. So that way you're not just pulling out money as you need. Try to get in the habit of living off especially if the company's young and running tight. Like, know what you need to operate on personally, financially, whatever that razor's edge is. Say $1,000 a month or whatever it is. Pay yourself that $1,000 a month, and that's all you pay yourself. And that'll help motivate you to keep the company doing better. Have a personal bank account, have a company bank account, company savings, personal savings, but pay yourself out of that company account to your personal account every week or once a month, whatever you need, and set yourself to a salary. And then you can also take an owner's draw at the end of the year if you're doing really well. So there's a lot of things there, but talk to your accountant about it.
Okay, so thanks, you two. Love these, not your content. Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck at DTE in Denver. Coming to you live from Denver.
Do you guys...
Might be our next Hype House location.
Both collect a salary from the company, or just one of you?
A salary? What?
We are both on salary.
Yep. And Britt draws the Bears share of it. And mine actually may change here, fortunately, because my tax situation with the state of Ohio is finally almost resolved. I think next month I make my last payment to my old sinful ways of running a company poorly. I know, that's pretty cool, huh? I was in the tax payback system for 5 years, and I think I make my last payment on it this month, which is super duper cool.
But yes, we both wouldn't start when
and we'll have a YouTube video about that, and a big birthday cake and balloons and confetti when I put that check in the mail. It's gonna be cool.
Like a while ago, like back
when we were bottle of Camus wine myself.
Back when we were rebuilding the company, I think I was withdrawing like $200 a month, not a month, maybe a week.
It felt like it.
Just to cover, I figure out what the bare minimum was to cover our bills and to eat spaghetti.
Bare necessities.
Just spaghetti, not even meatballs. for dinner
we
every
ate
night.
so much spaghetti back in the Dave Ramsey days.
And slowly from there, we've increased it as, we've had kids or whatever, but we always tried to just draw a minimum salary that we could.
Yep. And now it's better than that. Like we draw a good salary. It took 20 freaking years for me. We draw a good salary now. And thank God, because we work awful hard.
Congratulations, Byron.
That's awesome, man. I'm in the same spot. 5 more payments to go. Byron Small. Hey, so let's talk about that. So if you have a company that's having, or if you've got some tax issues that are behind you, get buckled down and you can't outrun it. I tried to outrun my tax issues for 6 years and it didn't. They caught up with me. They found me eventually. And then I was in a hell of a mess. Don't ignore it. Your best bet. So what you most need to find is where you least want to look. So you've got to turn around and charge into the darkness, and that shadow chasing you that is like a tax collector, a debt collector, you need to buckle down and face it and get it done. And if so, anybody that's on here that's has some tax issues and stuff like that, talk to a good accountant. It's going to cost you a fortune, but you can't outrun that stuff. And it's just the fees and interest and will eat you alive. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. So buckle down. If you're embarrassed of it, you got to suck it up, take your lumps, and just handle it. Because I was so embarrassed of it for a long time. I didn't tell anyone about it, and that made it worse.
Well, and it's not like it's the first time your accountant's ever seen it. Like,
oh my gosh, yeah, this is so common. It's absurd.
You were barely going to make it, and he was like, not a big deal.
Yeah, I went in my accountant like ready to like cut my wrists on the table there, showing all this tax mess I had, and he's like. I showed it to him and I'm like ready to like jump off a bridge or something. And he's like, no big deal. We see it all the time. We'll fix it. And we did. And so it's just like,
I think
so if you're struggling,
so find the right accountant that you can work with and trust.
I'll tell you what, and since this has been on my heart too here lately, like if you're struggling with issues, personal issues or business issues, talk to somebody about them, find help and talk to somebody about them. There's light at the other end. You just got to look.
Jason Zulo says that we should read
The Richest Man in Babylon. I have wanted to read that for so long. I haven't heard that book title in a while. That is one I'd like to read. I'm going to get my Audible account.
Maybe you can read it on the plane.
I'd like to get my Audible account up and running again. Brittany, do we want to call anybody?
No, we have a few things here.
I'm going to go a little over an hour here, but we didn't hype this one a whole lot. We put up an ad for so the phone's not ringing a whole bunch, which is fine. I think we just put up an announcement like 2 hours ago. We're going to do this live thing.
And mine was at 1:30 and yours is at 1.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Oh yeah. We had the wrong times too. So how about that for communication win?
Okay. So real quick.
Look at that truck.
February 12th in Tampa, Florida, we're having a meetup at Armature Park. It's free for whoever wants to come in the area. There's no food or drink provided, but there's tons of restaurants and bars.
Great nice restaurants there. It's beautiful.
Really pretty area, open to anyone. And I
wouldn't fly in, but I guess there's some people flying down to this meetup, which is going to be nuts. Noah Almond, my brother, might be there. I don't know. He might be my camera guy.
Okay, so Paul Jameson, us, the Fullertons, Blake Albertson, Andy Mulder, Joshua Sutton.
Maybe Stan Genetic, but I doubt it. I didn't hear the list, so we're probably the Creoles, Spencers. I didn't hear your list, so I'm forgetting.
They're there at the beginning of the week.
Am I going to be there?
You will be there.
I will be there.
So,
are you
free everyone the 12th. Paul says 3 to 7.
And Mitchell Gordy. I keep forgetting Mr. Gordy there. My apologies.
So,
he's an officer.
We'll stick with what Paul's advertising. It starts at 3, and we'll probably be there till 7.
3. I don't know how we're doing the giveaway that week, or I say we, but Paul's doing. Toro's giving away 3 freaking battery push mowers by Toro. It's going to be awesome. We might have some other giveaways.
Paul gets to take an afternoon nap.
Don't want to forget Mitchell. He'll give me a ticket. Yeah, I think he's a highway patrolman or something for somewhere in the Carolinas or something. I have not heard of that gentleman, but everybody says he's a great guy. So look forward to meeting with him. What else? So go ahead, babe.
Go ahead.
I'm going to talk about that down there. So you keep rolling through that stuff.
Okay. So the other thing, in case you missed the announcement, we are doing Together in the Trades, a summit for couples in business in Waco, Texas, June 12th. The tickets will go on sale February 8th. And, it'll be a great gift for your wife or spouse for Valentine's Day. A couple's ticket's going to be under $200. We're going to have professional speakers in talking about how to run businesses together, how to make a better marriage if you're in business, or just a better marriage period. Making tough financial decisions, setting your company up for a legacy. Food. Involving your children. There's stuff in the area. You got to get there and get a hotel, but
It's going to be really good.
So
and then also
it'll
you
be
can
all day
take
Saturday.
your spouse or significant other to Magnolia and buy all this #blessed junk everywhere. So, although Britt made that sign, but the Waco things, if you've got a spouse that's into the Waco Magnolia thing, it's a cool thing. So the event is Saturday.
Yeah.
So come early, go to Magnolia on Friday because Magnolia is closed Sunday. Make a weekend trip of it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Waco, Texas area. It's going to be beautiful. Still green, be hot, but it'll be green and beautiful then.
We'll probably have a meetup after.
We're gonna have a meetup down there in Waco at some point, and it's gonna be a really good chance to network. What else can we talk about? So I've got a list of things. Been big on safety stuff here. Been promoting it a lot. And just a few things I want to talk about on the safety end of things. Earlier in a week or last week or sometime, I sprayed a bunch of gasoline in my eyeball, and man, that burned. I've never done gas so much. I've never gotten so much. I've gotten a drop or something, or whatever, no biggie. But man, I sprayed a significant amount of gas in my eyeball. And it burnt like crazy, and it was terrible. But fortunately, and our shop doesn't have running water there, but we've got eye wash stations there and eye wash bottles. So I've been a huge proponent of making sure everybody's, getting that word out there, making sure you got your eye wash stations. And all our trucks, and we've got some videos on our Hardscape trailer talking about this stuff too, but making sure, I just want to be an advocate for this stuff. So make sure you've got your eye wash stations, first aid kits, Band-Aids, whatever all that entails. Then followed by tourniquets, combat application tourniquets. CAT tourniquets are really good. Fire extinguishers on your trucks, in your trailers, in your shop. And then on top of that, CPR, by the way, is a great thing to know, all your people, and Heimlich maneuver, how to properly administer the Heimlich maneuver, and train on this stuff. So I'll constantly be randomly asking my guys, hey, Keith, there's a fire over in the parking lot. What do you do with that fire extinguisher? And Keith, pull it off the wall, pull the pin, squeeze, and aim at the base of the fire. And I'm always grilling. I say always. I haven't done it in a little while because it's wintertime now. But I'm asking the guys just randomly stuff like that. And things we're going to go over is like how to apply those tourniquets. God forbid they come up on an accident. Chances are they might be the first responders, just driving as much as they drive around, or they're on construction sites and stuff like that. How to administer that tourniquet, how to perform CPR, how to do the Heimlich. If somebody's choking, like, you literally could save someone's life with the Heimlich maneuver. It's amazing. It's an incredibly simple thing. So wanted to touch on that. So that's kind of our big thing. Other than that, spring is coming here. Here it is, the end of January, February, March to me is spring, even though the weather's complete crap. We generally seem to get one bad winter storm right around Valentine's Day, but whatever. So I think that's it. I think that's it today. I think I will go the hour, and that's all. So folks, thanks for tuning in here today. TheHardscapeAcademy.com, www.thehardscapeacademy.com. I'm in here. Check out, we got a lot of value coming up in our,
I think we're going to make this a Sunday thing.
Maybe we'll see. I don't know. It takes effort and time and all that stuff, but thanks for watching, folks. Thanks for coming in. Elite Outdoors, Gulf, we're going to train someone to hire more skilled, deny them at their job. Hey, that's a great way. Elite Outdoors. So he's looking to hire somebody that's better at what they do than he is. And that is super cool. And that kind of mentality and that kind of action will take your company to new levels, because that allows you, if you can get somebody doing that, you can be the one out interviewing clients and finding the jobs that are better and more of the type of jobs you want to take on if you want to grow your company to that level. I know a guy who built a company, and he did not want to be out of the field. And actually, Andy Mulder kind of runs this way, but another guy kind of actually up his way too, by the way. But this dude wanted to be in the field, but he didn't want to run a company, but he wanted to have a decent sized company. And so he hired field staff. He hired office staff, salespeople, all that. And his job was, he worked in the field and did what he wanted to do, which is build. But he had a whole company. It was like a big company, like $5 million company. But he wasn't in the office at all. He worked for the company. It was really interesting. It's one of those few cases. So you can do this thing any way you want to do it. The company is your book, and you can write it any way you want, and you can change the chapters. You can change the pages.
Really no right or wrong way.
Yep. And there's one end goal of what you want to hit, which I would suggest everybody's always thinking about their exit plan and how to sell their company at the end, how to, make sure they're set up for retirement at the end of their career, and don't plan on selling your equipment and being rich, or selling your assets, or even selling your company. Landscape companies are hard to value and make money on. So it's really important to make sure you're setting up investments proper and using the money you make off your company to do smart things that you can do so you can retire and do the extra fun stuff that isn't necessarily just work related. So, yep. So with that, folks, I think that's it. We're right at 59 minutes. Again, Britt will close it right at 1. Go at like 59:59. So, folks, with that, I think we're out today. We have a podcast. We might launch a podcast here. I'm not really sure. We'll see. We might put some of this audio into a podcast.
I know Sunday's family day. Our kids are sleeping right now.
Yeah, your equipment, like Zulo said, won't be worth a lot when you sell. So don't bank on your equipment being your retirement. That just isn't the reality.
Back to
unless you've got a huge. I mean, I'm talking like, because you think about what it takes to retire dollar wise. I mean, it's going to be. I mean, you set the number you think it's going to be, but just think of what you're drawing as a salary now, and then when you retire, and you got to have that for 20, 30 years. And don't rely on Social Security and all that kind of crap. It'll be there, but it's nothing you want to live off of. So
we don't have a podcast. Right, this is kind of like our fill-in podcast. But all of the lives that we do are available on the channel.
You can go back.
It takes YouTube a while to like upload them, but you can watch them later. Caleb wants to do a podcast, but I haven't subscribed to that yet. So. And
whatever. So yeah, that's that. So guys, before we completely run out,
Paul, we'll talk about it in Florida.
I never run out of stuff to talk about, but I think that's it for today, folks. So have a great one. We got a busy week ahead, getting ready to go to Florida. We got to get our guys rolling, and Almonds definitely need a podcast. Yeah, there's so many people doing podcasts. I don't even want to. I want to, but I don't want to. So, anyways, thanks again, folks. Have a great day. We'll see you.
Bye
now.